Great sex in bed is not enough for lasting relationship. Let's just cut right to the chase, gentlemen. Are women transactional? Is it all about your money? There's like a 99% chance that when you're starting up a long-distance relationship, he's talking to another foreigner. Why is that? Hey, good morning for another episode of Fly Me to the Philippines. I'm here in Cagayan de Oro, Mindanao, back from the waterfalls, from all the adventures, from taking our Bulgarian friend around. Today, we want to talk about why one expat is not enough. Why Filipinas are most likely chatting to more than one expat at a time. Why is that? We're going to break that down and also stick around on Philippine expats with 48,000 Facebook group members. William asked the question. He says, as a career Western bachelor, very, very familiar with dating apps, he went online in the Philippines and he got 300 incoming emails and contacts on his first day. Back in the West, he says he'd be likely to get 4 or 5 a week. Let's hear what the other expats had to say to him about his experience and how their experience online shaped up. But first, I want to tell you about an axiom that I used in business for hiring employees. Because, you know, here in the Philippines, you're the wanted commodity. The tables are turned. No more crickets, no more tumbleweeds. You're the guy. You've got the fat wallet. You're exotic. You're what the women are after. There's no need for a hard sale. It's more like hiring. Here in the Philippines, there is a lot of economic poverty. Now, let's just cut right to the chase, gentlemen. Are women transactional? Is it all about your money? Now, comment below. I know there's a lot of you who are just going to say, dude, you're old and she's beautiful. She's only into you for your money. Okay. I hear you, and I'm willing to accept it. He's 37 years younger than me. We're going to be married later this year. I've come to believe that this relationship is true, and I found someone special. And I've met lots of other expats here in the Philippines who are very, very happy, living their best life, proving a lot of people wrong. I've told you before about these Las Vegas detectives, and they've got the graph, and they say if a man has an income of a 5 or higher on a scale of 1 to 10, women marry him. That's how women think. That's pretty transactional. If he has no money and he's an 8 or higher, they say date him, but don't marry him. Well, what's going on in the West? And one person wrote to me just last week. He said, the day I came home from losing my job is the day my wife said she's leaving me. That's what life in the West is like. Women are always seeking financial security. Here in the Philippines, a man with only $1,000 Social Security income is very, very attractive to many province Filipinas. He has lots of interesting and exotic things to bring to the table in addition to his pension. There are a lot of expats living on the cheap in the Philippines with beautiful Filipinas who feel like they've won a lottery ticket with only $1,000 a month. $1,500 a month is kind of a sweet spot. $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month. I've given you my budget. It's closer to $3,000 a month. And I have met dozens of expats here just in Cagayan de Oro who own cars and have built homes. Most of what you see on YouTube are people that are living pretty frugally, expats. They're trying to live under $1,500. They're trying to live under $2,000. Very, very doable. Now, why are Filipinas needing to engage in more than one long-distance relationship? Maybe the video that I'm proudest of on the channel, an interview with a real Filipina. If you want to know what Filipinas think, watch that video. But what she said was there's like a 99% chance that when you're starting up a long-distance relationship with a Filipina, that she's talking to another foreigner. Why is that? Well, the economic opportunities for the Filipinas is what is initially driving their interest. It's hard to find a good man who can make a decent income and help provide for the Filipina and her family. Western men, they're accessible now in 2024. There's technology. And a Filipina who meets a Westerner who's only making $1,000 a month, she's going to be very happy. Yeah, there's other Filipinas dating men with more money, but that's going to be double or triple what a typical Filipino earns. You represent real opportunity. Now, here's the thing. Why, if that's the case, once you meet them online, once you start video chatting this woman, you want to know, are they talking to other foreign men? Are they really into you? You're going to want to help out. It's not much money to send $100 US. So you're going to want to help out. And if a woman is chatting with 2 or 3 foreigners and she's getting 2 or 3 birthday gifts and she's getting 2 or 3 load cash infusions, and the man wants to give her an allowance because, gosh, you know, $100 will go so far to buy some protein, buy some groceries. I was a better salesperson than I was a manager. Managing was really, really hard. There's this axiom I used in business: hire hard, manage easy. This is the best thing I ever learned in life. And once I experienced difficulty where I would hire salespeople and they couldn't sell and they were problems and they were emotional problems and they had family problems. Oh my God. You can't manage your way out of a bad hire. So this axiom is hire hard, manage easy. Put the effort into the hiring. You will not have to manage very much at all. You will be considered a great manager if you hired the right person. And I switched gears mid-career, and I started to drill into the recruiting and hiring process. It didn't turn me into a superstar manager, but boy, it really, really helped a lot. It's so relevant for what the task is today. You are wanting to meet a Filipina. You are wanting to transform your life. And there's so much opportunity here in the Philippines that what we want to do is hire hard, manage easy. Now, how does that play out in real terms? You know, I've talked to you about it's more luck than skill. If you think you can just take your first batch of resumes and find your candidate and you're done, and you don't have to work hard, you don't have to play multiple bingo cards to be a bingo winner. No, you might have to play a lot of different sites. You might have to spend 100 days. You might have to come to the Philippines and check these people out. There's a lot of hiring work to be done. What we want is we want to find that person. Now, I've been 10 months with my Filipina. I am like over the top happy. I have not seen anything that has made me question my initial decision. I remember that day I had to tell my family, I'm going to the Philippines. I think I'm moving there. I think I'm getting married. I hadn't even met the person yet. And they're looking at me like, you know, I've grown, stupid. And, Dad, the only thing she's interested in is your money. We work together because we do this YouTube. And I am just totally convinced that I've, met a caring and loving person. Is she interested in bettering her life? Absolutely. Is there an economic advantage in being involved with a foreigner? Absolutely. I think she loves me. I definitely love her. And her family has not been burdensome to me. There's never been a request for money. The most loving, caring type of relationship I've ever been in. So for all of you, it's really possible. We're going to get to these 30 comments where people say what their experience were on the dating site. But let's just go through some of the things that you need to make sure that you are aware. You are not that special that you can just log on to this dating site, get 300 responses, and your bingo will be in that batch of incoming. The scammers and the hustlers, they look for the new. There's a filter that'll show who's new, and you are target number 1. And then there's also people who look, if you indicate your income, if they see you with a fancy car in your photos, they are going to come and shake on your money tree. And you can assume, it's not 100% true, but you should assume that 97% of that incoming email, incoming contact is all BS. And there may be a like or two. You know, Chrissy mentioned it's very unusual for a Filipina to just write you. She might like you or send a heart, depending on the dating app. A lot of guys, it's like a video game. You know, they get 300 inbound. They can't resist touching these beautiful Filipinas. Hey, let's video chat, chatting them, texting them, teasing them, seeing if they're really scammers. It wastes a lot of time. Your goal here is to hire hard and one day, like me, manage easy. Have a beautiful Filipina that is just like such a great experience. You don't have to be micromanaging the relationship. It's all been taken care of up front because you made the right selection. And it's all about you making the right selection. You've got that $1,500 a month. You've got that $2,500 a month pension. And you're it. You can change people's lives and they will love you. They will care for you. Now, I've said this before. You should be initiating 100 outbound communications, maybe on more than one dating platform to increase your chances. It's more like gambling than it is skill. So you need to play to win. It's just like that. You're buying lottery tickets, you're buying bingo cards, and what you need to do is find a really great woman in the mix. They're there. They're just overwhelmed by the noise of all the hustlers, scammers, and people that just want to, deceive you. You need to read their profile, use their name. It's a very short message. It shouldn't be too long. It's just like, hey, Susan, I read your profile. Awesome that you're a teacher. I love snorkeling also. I'd love to know more about you. Boom, send it. Do 100 of them. If you may not do 100 in 1 week, you might do 100 over a couple of weeks, but you need to generate 100 outbound. And if you don't catch, if you're fishing and you don't catch any fish, you need to move to another fishing hole. You need to try different bait. You need to keep throwing those outbound touches going. Next, you need to video chat them immediately. And great sex in bed is not enough for lasting relationship. Don't lower your standards. Don't just chase the first shiny object that comes your way, even though it seems like a lot of fun to tease and talk and source out these girls that are chasing after you. You're looking for the real gold. Filipinas will video chat you till the cows come home. They will try and tie you up. If you're in the bathroom, they're going to want to know where you are, and you better text them back, because if they get suspicious and they think you're jerking them around, they will pursue other opportunities simultaneously. Think about it. Have you ever met a job candidate? Oh, IBM says we'd like to interview you. They just stop interviewing with Microsoft. They stop interviewing with General Motors. That makes no sense. From the Filipinas point of view, the men want them to take their clothes off on camera half the time. That's their only motivation. Some of these men are married. Some say they're coming to the Philippines in 9 months. BS. They're not coming. They can't afford to come. They have relationship they're in at home, and they're just trying to get the relationship for 3 months until the girl takes her clothes off, blah, blah, blah. These girls have high-risk LDR relationships. Some girls have been dating LDR for 2, 3, 4 years. The guy never shows up. Or if he does show up, there's no guarantee there's going to be chemistry and that he's going to want to pursue her further. You better go collect your prize if you find it. Be proactive. Find the women, they're there. You can't let them come to you. You got to go find them. Video chat them, video chat them, video chat them. Then do your due diligence. You do need to reverse engineer these Facebook pages, these multiple Facebook pages. We have a video on how to investigate your Filipina on Facebook. Part of investigating is getting your butt on an airplane and coming to the Philippines for 3 weeks or 2 weeks and seeing what you found. And once you meet her face to face, you consummate that relationship, you meet her parents, you can maintain that long-distance relationship. So leaving these Filipinas on their own, or if you're only touching them for 20 minutes a day, once a day, you must assume that 99% of the time they're chasing other opportunities, like a job candidate would chase other companies. So you need to consummate the relationship in person and lock it down and really wrap that up as soon as possible. So again, gentlemen, this is really an axiom, so easy to remember. In your search for Filipinas, hire hard, manage easy. Now, let's get to that Philippine expats post. Matthew says, so he just signed up. He got 300 inbounds. He says 50% of the messages are just both BS and bots. They're either bots or these women are being paid to engage in conversation. He says 30% just want money. It's like they're stuck in a house with a baby. They have internet. They're just dialing for dollars. He says 15% are real and they look nothing like their pictures. And he says 5% are sincere. And so he says he's had experience with other dating sites, and he went on a Philippine dating site. He got 300 incoming. He says, yeah, I'm in my early 60s. I'm in pretty good shape. He said, I was getting zero action in the United States. I went on Filipino Cupid and boom, I got a similar response. He says he's planning a trip to Cebu soon. He's got a preschool teacher, 28 years old, and he's really optimistic. Michael says many scammers. He says, in my case, I got lucky and I have a beautiful Filipina happily married. Alarico says a lot of scammers, a lot of Filipinos, they had a baby with 1 or 2 men. They don't want to work anymore. They're just looking for an ATM. John, he says, filter, filter, filter. Sit down and think about what kind of woman you really want. He says, put down exactly what it is you're looking for. He says he had 200 conversations over 2 years, but he finally found his perfect Filipino. He says she's a teacher from the provinces, and they've been happily married for 15 months. 200 interviews, he said. Andrew says, it was easy for me to filter. She was the first Filipina under 25 who didn't ask for $100 for taxi money. Jeff's pessimistic. He says half are scammers, the rest are bots. He met his Filipina through a mutual friendship. Ron says, stay away from the 20s, do the 30s. Lots of problems with 20-year-olds. They're kind of immature. They haven't, kind of figured out who they are yet. They spend all their time on TikTok watching shorts, and you may not have that much in common other than sex. William writes he's looking for a woman in her 40s. Scott writes 95% are looking for an easy life. Well, life can be hard here in the Philippines in a tropical environment. Jim says a prenup means nothing in the Philippines. Watch your assets. I might mention, it's really surprising. I watched a ton of YouTube before I made the leap. And, most of the budgets were like $1,000. You can live for $800. You can live for $1,500. Guys had pretty meager accommodations. They would rent a motor scooter. Occasionally they might go out to a resort, and that was that. I live here in Mindanao, Cagayan de Oro, in the uptown area. There's a ton of guard-gated communities. There's malls. The majority of the expats I've met, they've purchased homes for their Filipinas, or in addition to land, they own cars. They have children, teenagers that go to private schools that cost a couple $1,000s a year each child. They buy computers for the kids. They are not living that other type of lifestyle. So you don't see it much on YouTube. A lot of people, when they see my budget and where I'm living in this beautiful canyon, I don't know if you can see it here, they're not used to seeing it, but it represents a sizable chunk of the expat community here. There's a large variety of expat life here, and you can golf at really high-end golf courses. You can eat at good restaurants. You can travel to other Asian countries easily and around the Philippines. And just in our last video, we showed you these crazy secret waterfalls that, it's not free to go to. So, you got to be willing to have transportation. Kurt says, in the U.S., we qualify for Edith from All in the Family. Here in the Philippines, we qualify for Megan Fox. So I guess if you know those references. Josh, if you can believe this, he says his first night in the Philippines, he went on Tinder and he had 6,000 women swipe right. The second one is now his wife. Daddy says most will probably say they need load, and if you don't send money, they won't be able to chat with you. And, that can be true. Although, when I met Chrissy, she was at her father's 5 hours south in Mindanao, and she had to put coins in a Wi-Fi box, but she never asked me for money, and I offered to give her a little bit of load money. She wouldn't take it. Henry says they're probably paid to message you. William says he feels like a steak amongst a bunch of hungry sharks. Ihino says the Philippines is a country of 130 million people. Let's say half of them are women. That's like 65 million. Like 30 million of these are young and financially distressed province girls. Only 300 incoming emails. That's like a drop in the bucket. Marshall says all you have to do is stand on the street and the women will just come and approach you. I don't find that to be true, actually. The type of woman that we're looking for, educated, beautiful, great figure. You can find women with beautiful hair and good figures, not as often with a gorgeous face, and educated and speaking good English from a good family, a family that's not going to see you as their meal ticket. That's going to be a little harder to find. Quite often, I do personalized consulting, and it takes up about 6 hours of my week, 6 to 10 hours every week. And I meet a lot of guys, and some of them come to the Philippines without having met a Filipina, and they're looking for educated women. They're looking for a very particular type of woman. And it's not just like standing on the street corner. You have to really zero in on the IT parks where college educated call centers are located. You have to zero in on the nursing colleges where they might be coffee shops nearby. You have to maybe Volunteer if you're a doctor. Volunteer if you've got some specialized skill. And find Filipinas that way. Now, once you're here, the wives of the other expats might know somebody, and, you could easily get lucky. But if you really are looking for somebody who's a nurse or a very educated woman, you are going to have a little bit more trouble than you think. Many of the men are going from city to city. Even though they're here, I've met several that came to visit one girl in one city, and it didn't work out. And so they're still online, and then they meet a girl in another part of the Philippines, and they're travel to that girl. That doesn't work out. And then they go to another part of the Philippines. Okay, after 2 months, it didn't work out. They go back home, but they plan to come back. My point is, it's not so easy just to meet the perfect bingo, the perfect woman that is like the one I've met. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think they're a dime a dozen. They're here, but you may not meet the marriage material. Barry says, in the U.S., all the dating apps ask how much money you make. If you don't put $150,000 a year, no one will write you. Dennis says, make sure you video chat them immediately. And if they say they can't video chat, he says, that's a huge red flag. Move on. Philip says sort of the same thing. He says, after a text or two, immediately video chat. If they won't accept your video chat, quite often they're actually men. Donald says, yo, back away from the internet. You're not ready to date online. With that attitude, you're going to fail. Just get yourself to the Philippines. You'll do fine. Todd says, I had the same experience 3 years ago on Filipino Cupid. It takes a while to learn how to filter through the trash and the scammers and all the nonsense. He says, but now I'm happily married to a Filipino. And he says, I couldn't be happier. Nate says, 300? Did you use a $100 bill as your profile picture? Mark says, if you state in your profile that you don't send money, the number of incoming messages will drop by half. Michael says, dating apps are going to screw you up. They screwed me up, he says. Just come here to the Philippines, hang out at Jollibee's. Robert says, when you do engage them on these dating sites, if you ask them how they're doing and their answer is not too good, be cautious. This is the setup for a sob story where they're going to want you to feel the need to send money. Red flag. Tom says he also joined Filipino Cupid a couple of years ago, and he got hundreds of hits at first. Fast forward to now, 2 years, he's here in the Philippines. It's really easy to date, he says, but it's not that easy to find a serious relationship, somebody you really want to make your permanent partner. He says there's deception everywhere amongst these women. Proceed with caution. Bill says out of those 300, 290 are scammers. Nate says he spent maybe 1 hour on Pine Love, and within the first hour, boom, he connected with a girl who messaged him. They've been together for 6 months, including 30 days on the ground. He said it was like walking into a casino and winning a jackpot with his first coin. Melvin said he had the same result with a ton of incoming interest, but when he let him know he wasn't planning to bring them to the United States, he had lost about half of the interested parties. John says, beware, since your membership shows as new, 90% of the incoming messages will be scammers because they target newbies. He says, number one rule, go right to video chat. And don't be shy. They need to verify you're real, too. So, open up. James says, if they're contacting you first, watch out. It's a scam. You've heard from the expat community. You've heard from me. Remember this axiom. Hire hard and manage easy. Till next time, from Fly Me to the Philippines, see you later.